Look who we have today.
Hi.
He's got a new haircut. Looks good, huh? And it is about time for me to get my haircut for sure. But anyways, guys, we are doing the Book of Daniel today, and Justice agreed that he would do it with us. So we are gonna do the Book of Daniel, at least one chapter of it. And if you guys have any comments or thoughts, just throw them in the chat, and we will certainly answer them in between our talking points. You want to start us out on the fiery trial, or you want me
Sure.
to?
Let me pull it up on YouTube.
Okay, I'll start while you do that. So this is Daniel chapter 3, verses 4 through 30. Prior to a Super Bowl football game, there was a rather interesting story about Ronald Reagan in the LA Times. He was about to leave a press conference in New Hampshire, and someone fired a question at him. Who do you like in the Super Bowl? Without hesitation, the former governor of California and now the presidential hopeful said, the Rams. Then a light apparently went on in his brain, and he paused and said, wait a minute, I'm not running for governor of California anymore. May the best team win. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which part?
So I read that first paragraph.
Oh.
I'm just using that to keep track of my spot.
It's amazing. Is that what I'm at?
Yep.
Right here. It's amazing how fickle. Is that it?
Yep.
Our loyalties are.
You know what that means?
No.
It just means like wishy-washy.
Oh, okay. Our loyalties are, isn't it, dependent upon certain external pressures. We get swayed so very easily by the circumstances. And why is it circumstances if circum means around?
Because it's talking about the things around the topic.
Oh, that makes sense. Circumstances and who we want to influence. This is just a part of life for most people, and I hope we study Daniel 3. We can do what we've done so many times already in the book of Daniel, and that is we can learn to draw a line and call the line conversation and determine in our minds and our hearts that we'll never descend below that line. That isn't easy to do. Let me give you a simple way to look at it. Our decisions, our attitudes, and our behaviors are determined by one of two things: external pressure or internal principle. Read that again. Our attitudes and decisions and our behaviors are determined by one of two things: external pressure or internal principle. And the battle is going on all the time in our lives between those conflicting items. You want to talk?
Sure. You want to talk, Tom?
Can
I call you mom or ma'am?
no.
No. Neither one of us. Thank you for asking. Martin Miguel says Ninjago.
Ninjago.
Viva Mexico. Yes, Viva la Mexico. Leo, I would have been bored on the first page, little bro, but you're doing your thing. He's a good participant. I will tell you that for sure. I asked him to sit down and do some Bible study with me.
Thank you, hello.
What's that?
I said thank you, hello.
Rak Kumar, how's it going? Wahab, system is noise. Make his write a 50-page book report on the Talmud. I don't think we're gonna do that. Although he's been in school all week, being a busy boy. Hello, how's it going? Thank you for the sub, I appreciate that. Prince Kapoor. Hey, bro, from India, where are you from? We are in Colorado. What about, where in India are you from?
Can I help? I don't know how you could help.
You can participate by.
Yeah, you can participate. By the way, good reading. Thank you. Ton Q? Ton Kui? Ton Ku? Ton Kitty?
Where am I now?
Right there. Ton Uki?
Tanuki. Yeah.
Tanuki. Hello. What's up? Art AB? How do you say that? AB's? AB.
Ayubi.
IB?
Ayubi's
Oh,
corner.
I'm from Indonesia. Nice. What faith? Christianity. I wish I knew how to read. That was for nerds growing up. Now I regret not learning it for real. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
I agree.
Get your hair. Get a haircut. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's just not styled right now. I got it yesterday.
Tell him what happened.
Well, my mom was doing it, but she forgot her clippers last night, or the night before.
To charge him.
Yeah.
She forgot to charge him, so
So
she got halfway through.
halfway through, like done, like one side done. So I had to wake up early and go to the barber in the morning.
At least you got there, though.
What Bible do you read? I don't know. Like the version? I read NIV for my school. Right now I'm reading the book of Daniel.
This is written by a local pastor, actually. His name is John Brashane. It's actually a pretty good read.
He's local?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. He wrote that book, Ruth Goes to His Church.
Oh, that's cool. Bible. Lots of snow and cloud. Declare war on God?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's not a good. Have you ever read the stories about people that have tried to do that stuff? Never goes well.
Mega supporters. Thank you.
Sean says older than King James. I do want to learn Hebrew. I was just talking about that. I want to learn Hebrew so I could read the Bible in Hebrew.
What do you want? What do you want, Rube? Hi, what's up, 12? I always show Bible. You should read Quran.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the other? Is that like the Muslim book?
It's like the Muslim Bible equivalent. Yeah.
Have you read the book of Enoch? Call 666. Respect all greyhound dogs, the only dog mentioned in the Bible. Please, great to see you both. Also, King James Version. It's more accurate. Very nice relation between the Father and the Son. I like it. I'm leaving. Like I'm learning from you English and how to be a good dad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jubin.
Appreciate that.
Do you play Fortnite? Yes, I play Fortnite. Trump is God. He and Elon Musk will save the world. No, they're
definitely
very
not
good, but
yeah, they're doing. We believe they're doing a good job, but they're not God by any means.
yeah.
And hopefully they don't think that they are.
Yeah.
But I think that's the important heart posture towards having knowledge of God and a higher being, I believe.
Yeah, Hebrew is the original version. Really, guys, you should become Eastern Orthodox. It is cool. What's up, boys? What's up, true man? Have you ever imagined the sight of God and cried? I didn't cry, but it's like kind of like makes you like you get a weird, scary feeling in your heart almost.
Yeah, pretty intense feelings.
Yeah. What's up, boys? Hi, hello from Brazil. What's up, Brazil? The great angel, St. Michael. It's 11:27 at night here, almost Sunday. Nice. May Jesus bless the family. Thank you, Sam. Hebrew is the original version of Bible. Alkan is the language of Jesus. In the Bible, it repeats states language first. All right, I'm gonna read a little bit.
And I do that Aramaic is part of it. I think the Bible is written in Aramaic, Hebrew, and one more. Can't remember.
Alright, I'm gonna read.
Alright, he's gonna keep going.
And we're very good at we're very good at justification. So a lot of times when we stumble? No, what's that?
Succumb, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, succumb.
Succumb to
You know what that means?
No. Like to go somewhere?
To give in to.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To external pressure. We have external pressure.
External pressure.
We define it as internal principle, but basically we have to come down to that bottom line. Do we do what we do? Do we do what we do? Say what we say and act we act because we have convictions about it, or because we feel the pressure coming from the outside, and our convictions somewhat altered by whatever pressures are brought upon us. There are times when I'm in a situation where if I say what I believe, I'll alternate a lot of people and I face the same bottom line. Do I say what I believe based on an internal principle, or do I succumb to the external pressure and let them hear what they'd rather hear?
What do you think?
I don't know.
You know what it's
kind of
asking?
hard for me to
Focus and read.
Yeah.
It is for me too, so it's nice to take turns. So it's asking about your internal belief system and doing what you believe versus what you feel pressured to do by people around you or the environment.
Yeah. Oh, what's up, Sam? You're dead.
Okay. Where are you at?
I'm at, right there.
Okay. So I think something for me on that point is that I'm getting more comfortable with just not trying to please the people around me. Not that I want to come off overly rude or that I don't care, but I also feel like we got to take a stand for our values, and it's important that we be firm in that. Otherwise, it's very easy to become disconnected from those values. You want to answer some questions? So, Sean says the Vatican created the title Christ. That's an interesting thought. Where did you get that from, Sean? Thank you, Mom. Said that you did a good job. No politics. I don't know, Sleazy. I think it's all good if people want to talk. I mean, I think I want to promote the freedom of speech and ideas to get communicated. And I think if you can't talk about it here, then where are you going to talk about it? You know?
Yeah.
What flavor yogurt? So actually, that's part of my meal prep. So that yogurt it's actually almond milk, but it's vanilla, and it has blueberries, strawberries, and granola in it. So it was pretty tasty. Justice had 2 this morning, I think.
Yeah. Hello, live from Russia, Trump and Putin. Yeah. Nice. All right, you ready?
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
All glory to God, my blood and faith to God, and my love to God. Amen. Platypus. All right. I'm gonna keep going. I'll come back to the comments in a minute.
Held for review. Ooh. Held for review.
Red, what'd you say? Can't read the Spanish, sorry. You're gonna have to convert it. Sean, the term Christian comes from the Roman Christi Pallidus. He lived in 500 AD. Isn't that about the time of Muhammad as well, Sean? Okay, so it says when you are working in a business situation and you have the opportunity to make hay, shall we say, to do very well by yourself and close a big deal by simply compromising a little bit, maybe telling a small lie, cheating in a small way, violating a rule that seems to you rather insignificant, do you succumb to that kind of external pressure? Or do you act completely and totally on the basis of what you know to be proper internal principle? Because that's really the key issue as we live and move in this world. What do you think, Justice? If you were selling your engine and you knew something was just not quite right with it, would you feel all right getting rid of it?
Yeah.
But if, even though something's wrong with it and you're selling to somebody and you shouldn't be?
Well, like if what's wrong with it?
Well,
What's the
something
deal?
that if you, only you knew, but somebody else didn't know, and it would affect the value of it.
Well, it depends what part is broken on it.
Well, what are you gonna do? Disclose it? Are you gonna tell them about it? So like when I'm selling that car the other day, right?
Yeah.
I
Well, it depends what part is broken on it. Cause like if there's like a little itty bitty thing broken on it, then I'll just sell it.
well, it's not a big deal, but what if it's something that they need to know about? Do you withhold that information? Or do you tell them?
Well,
and,
it depends.
And risk losing the sale?
If they're nice. If like they're nice or they're like rude. Like if they're rude, I might sell it.
But it's not about them, right?
Okay, well then I'd not sell it to them. I'd give them a $100 discount.
Well, here's the thing is I think that it's important that you're aware of how to navigate that, because you haven't been in those situations probably very many times. But like for me, I'm selling that red car, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really know how well it's ran because I only drove it for 120 miles, right?
Yeah.
So I can't lie and say that it's been super reliable because I've only driven it 120 miles, right? I haven't driven it the last 160,000 miles,
Yeah.
right? But I just fully disclose, and if people want to make that decision, then they start to learn. They can make the decision, right? If it's good for them. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
You want to read comments?
Huh?
Go ahead.
No. Okay, come on. Let's read. You know what? Let's read some comments so I get our algorithm up. We're just gonna kind of discard some of those.
Why not go through those?
Because it's gonna take too long. We're getting a lot. Honestly, it is the most important to be letting someone know the negative is being upfront. Yeah. Oh, is that your dad? Yes, he's my dad. The truth will set you free. Yeah, but like if it's just like a little, well, not like I would probably put it in the description if it's on like Facebook Marketplace that there's something wrong with it.
Well, right, and I think that that's the thing, right? Because here's the deal is if you're on the other side of this and somebody sells you something, like if you bought something that you thought was new, like a new keyboard and a new mouse, and you opened it up. I
buy it from big companies though.
Right, but what if you bought it from a big company and it appears like it'd been used?
Then I'd get a refund.
Right, but don't you feel like you'd be shafted, like slighted?
Yeah.
Right, so I think it's important that you take that same approach when you're selling or doing something for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it's talking about, is like giving in, because something, like for me, I am in sales, so it's like I don't want to compromise myself. If it's not a positive thing for the customer, then I don't want to do it. But also, I mean, it's easier when you think about the longevity of those relationships, because it's like you don't want to build your reputation on being known as some guy that he says one thing, but it's not quite what you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's look at the comments real quick. I want to go back to where we stopped.
Old school cars. I like old school cars. Ooh,
We missed quite a
just
few
had
guys,
drop.
sorry. That's probably because we stopped talking. So I can't read that. Looks like something European. Rome. Sean Trainer says Rome killed all the monotheists who were ancient Hebrews. All right, keep going. Sam, do you guys need help in moderating the chat?
Oh yeah, Mr. California is not a moderator?
I thought, well, probably because he changed his pin, so. All right, Sam, you can help. You thought I was Aquaman. I appreciate that, Love Master. How's it going in Ukraine? You guys, your leader made the news. How did you feel like he represented you guys? Signum Circus, how's it going? Cinema File from Ukraine, how's it going? Verbre, hello, from Russia, Trump and Putin. Yeah, they seem to get along, don't they? Terry Cupcake, what's up, guys? I'm a big fan of your work, and I hit the sub button. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. Definitely helps us. I mean, I think it's it's awesome to be able to have these conversations. So I'm glad you see the value in it too. Somebody said dumb hobbit. That's not very nice, but welcome to our Bible study. Snippy says, Sandwith, I think that's Russia, right? Vlogs just saying. Yahweh.
Maybe he's saying like, hi guys, in different language.
Yeah, sure. I'm probably saying inappropriate things. Yahweh is Jehovah. I agree with you, Sean.
Read next.
Demon Horde Deets. I'm new here. What's this channel about? We do a lot of like, there's a lot of DIY Bible study. We're building some scooters right now. So we get into some mechanical shenanigans. My scooter's like 5 feet tall. That's pretty cool.
Walmart Aquaman.
Yeah, I'm the knockoff. Daniel Broccoli says, do you think it's cruel to support animal slaughter by buying animal products? I think that there's certainly more ethical ways that could be done. Cruel, I mean, me personally, I think that that's one of the problems with like the very commercialized side of farming, is that there is abuse, and I at least do think that the animals were put here as part of how to serve and support the human population, not exclusively, but I think that they should retain a higher quality of life while doing so. So I think that there should be, some sort of quality of life for them.
You're getting so many held for review comments.
Am I?
Yeah. People are probably getting angry.
Hello. History accurate Thor. Thank you, Nate. Bean and cornbread. Yes, I'm the cheap Aquaman. Maybe if I don't know, if I had a little Hollywood action, I'd have the money to get me there. I can't read in Spanish, I'm sorry. Sean, thank you. Night.
No hablo español.
Bean, yeah, Bean thinks he's funny. Cinemaphile, this is the way. It is. Vlogs, yes, unfortunately. Platypus, in my greed, I asked God for gold. He didn't give any, but I kept praying. You know what's interesting about that platypus is I think a lot of the desires that are on our hearts are also simultaneously like the things that God uses us to bring us to Him. You want to read what Sean said? Jehovah is repeated in the Bible as the alone mighty God. Alone clarifies singular. Yeah, I mean, and it talks about many Elohims, right? Many little G gods. Mike Glocken, what book is this? So, this is actually the book of Daniel, but it's not actually, this is not the Bible book. This is a book written about the book of Daniel. The kid is smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a nice
Thank
compliment.
You,
Remember, you're on a timer. How do you know we're on a timer? Cinephile says, my son and I have conversations like this all the time. I think that these are what needs to happen in parenting for sure. And it's probably one of my favorite things is to see what's on his brain and just let him kind of talk.
could I read a little?
Yeah, you want to read more?
Sure.
All right, we're taking a break to read some more, guys.
All right, where am I at?
Where do we leave off?
I don't know.
I think now.
All right. Let me get comfortable. Now as we approach the third chapter of Daniel, we're going to meet three young men who functioned on internal principle, and they didn't really care what an external pressure was. And as followers of Jesus Christ, I think we have a lot to learn from these three young men. I want you to put yourself in this situation. I want you to see yourself here. I'm not so concerned that you see Shadrach, Meshach, and
Bendigo, yep.
as that you see you here, and that you see how we would respond in a similar situation. I want you to put yourself in this study because that is the only thing that's going to make it meaningful for you. It doesn't really matter what these three Hebrew young men did, what they did. It doesn't matter to us today unless there is something here that we have gained personally. And the way we confront the world. Do we put God first? We put His word. Do we put His word first? Do we do what we do based entirely upon internal principle, or do we validate and
Validate. Compromise.
Huh?
Where are you at?
I'm down there. And act. Huh?
Go ahead.
And act on external pressure. Stuart Kennedy, who was an Anglican minister and a pastor at Worcester in England, was also a chaplain in World War I. He has written some very beautiful poems and already been favorite of mine, but as a chaplain, he had to go to war and he had to leave his family. He had a little son and he wrote a letter to him from the trenches of France. When he was in the mindset of very serious warfare, this is what he said. Obviously, the letter was, though his wife or his son couldn't read. The first prayer I want my son to learn to say for me is not, God, keep God, keep Daddy safe. The first prayer I want my son to learn is, God, make Daddy brave, and if he has hard things to do, make him strong to do the life and death don't matter, right and wrong do. Daddy dead is Daddy still. Daddy dead is Daddy still.
What?
Daddy
Are
dead
you making
is
stuff
Daddy
up
still.
over there?
No, look. Daddy dead is Daddy.
Still.
Daddy dead is Daddy still.
Okay.
I wonder if you made a mistake, maybe.
Right and wrong do.
But Daddy dishonored before God is something too awful for words. I suppose you like to put in a bit about safety too, and Mother would well put it in afterwards, always afterwards, for it doesn't matter.
Go ahead. I'm just looking at the front of the book.
Where is this? Wow. I'm trying to find where I'm at. For it doesn't matter nearly as much. Well, Student Kennedy was right. Daddy deal is Daddy still. Daddy dead. Daddy dead is Daddy still. But Daddy compromised. Compromised is something awful, and that's the uncompromising integrity that God calls for, and that's precisely what we see in the lives of these three young men who were able to face external pressure that was literally unbelievable, but made decisions based absolutely and only on internal principle received through the divine revelation that they were taught.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to switch seats and you can type out responses?
Sure.
T-Man is asking if I'm a good person. You can answer honestly.
Yeah. It's upside down. Oh yeah, the book is. It looks like it's upside down.
Oh, it's like it does look like it's upside down. That's really weird.
Yeah, it's because it's like a mirror. You know, if you look in a mirror.
Yeah, but it's not. It just is the way that it looks like it should be like that.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah, I thought on Jews.
Where did you stop?
Like right here.
Okay. And I say again, I'm not just talking about the world of politics or the world of government or the world of business. I'm telling you that the Church of Jesus Christ needs men to whom external pressure brings no fear, and that just isn't true in all cases. One poet wrote it this way: I saw the martyr at the stake, the flames could not courage shake. I saw the martyr at the stake, the flames could not his courage shake, nor death his soul appall. I asked him whence his strength was given. He looked triumphantly to heaven and answered, Christ is all. That is the heart of the three young Hebrews, and I trust that God will give you that same heart as you learn tonight from this marvelous passage. The flow of the text is a narrative text, and it flows from the ceremony to the command, to the conspiracy, to the coercion, to the courage, the consequences, the companion, and the commendation. Commendation. Am I saying that right? I feel like I'm mispronouncing that. And curiously, I would just add this footnote. Daniel isn't here in this passage, and I think that is abundantly important to us. We all know of the great character and virtue of Daniel as indicated in the first chapter and the second. We've all seen this tremendous strength of character that Daniel had in the uncompromising stand against the king's meat and the king's wine and the king's activities. What were you going to say?
I can't type.
And I think we kind of felt that in Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, otherwise known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in their Babylonian names, sort of slid along Daniel's coattails. And just so that we know that wasn't the case, the Lord conveniently removes Daniel. And he's not even around when all the things are going on in chapter 3, which is amazing in itself because this is such a massive event in the kingdom of Babylon. It must have been that Daniel was out of the country on some very important business as prime minister, or whatever rank he had at this particular time. But he's not here, and these three young men stand alone, but they stand courageously. First of all, the ceremony. Look back at verses 1 through 3. We've already discussed them, but just to remind you, Nebuchadnezzar the king, he's the king of Babylon, where these young men, Hebrew young men, have been taken captive along with all that was left of the nation of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width of 6 cubits. That's 90 feet high and 9 feet wide. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather together the satraps and administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image of King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the king that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Can you look that up? That
What?
word? Satraps. S-A-T-R-A-P-S. Now, what you have here is Nebuchadnezzar making an image, a massive statue to himself, identifying himself, if you will, as a god.
Oh, sorry. A governor of province in ancient Persia, a ruler.
One more time, pronounce it.
Oh, like a
Satrap.
Satrap. Okay, we're learning here.
What's up, Victor?
So he was portraying himself as a god and demanding that all the highest ranking people in the Babylonian Empire fall down and worship him. As I told you before, the gold that represented Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel's vision of the 4 world empires captivated his thinking, no doubt. And so he decided to make a massive statue, all of gold, to his own glory. And it sort of symbolizes the monarch and his empire embodied into one great reality. And he wanted everyone to bow down and worship him. Nebuchadnezzar was simply doing what all men tend to do who don't know God. That is, they worship themselves. They invent gods of their own thinking to fit their own mind and their own attitude. I think that's so interesting because you see a lot of that in today's approach towards spirituality is if you don't know God, then you essentially, in my mind, I think you become your own God. Having established this great idol and demanded that everybody worship it, this brought these 3 Hebrew young men into a very chilling decision because they knew the law of God regarding idolatry, and they knew what it was to set up graven images and how heinous it was to the mind of God. They knew that it was unacceptable, and they knew they faced the reality of making a decision. Now you notice all the nobles had little character because in verse 2 it says he called them, and then in verse 3 it lists them all over again, almost in a sarcastic way, and says they all stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. In other words, typically all of these leading politicians and all of the hierarchy of Babylon were willing to do whatever it took to get the approval of Nebuchadnezzar. They would compromise all of their convictions, whatever other deities they may or may not have worshipped. They would set all of that aside to do whatever was necessary for them to gain favor with this man, and to take themselves out of a position of being punished or even being killed because they failed to do it. And so all the great ones stand there in their typical compromising fashion, and it reiterates them all in verse 3. I think in order to sort of humiliate them in almost a satirical way as their lack of character is made manifest. Now we move from ceremony to the command in verse 4. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages." Now let me just give a footnote here. Peoples, nations, and languages is just a common form of address to speak of a conglomerate of people. It is used again in the same chapter in verse 7. It is used again, I think, over in verse 29. Yes, people, nation, and languages. It is used in chapter 4, peoples, nations, and languages in verse 1. It's used again, I think, in chapter 6. It's just a common way of addressing any conglomerate assembly of people. And so he calls together all of this conglomerate and he gives them a command. Doing it right over there?
Yep.
All right. And what is this? It's in verse 5. That at that time, and that means at that precise moment, he wants absolute submission and absolute precision at a very exacting moment. That at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery in symphony with all kinds of music. You shall fall down and worship the gold image of King Nebuchadnezzar, or that King Nebuchadnezzar set up. Now apparently this guy had a royal orchestra with all of this stuff playing together. Some, no doubt, sensual music to try to draw everybody's attention to the image and cause them to bow down. It is kind of interesting to note that you have both wind and string instruments here. There is a horn and there is a pipe, and that means a flute. And then, by the way, the horn had a lower sound and the flute had a higher sound. Then you have a lyre, which is a harp. Did I pronounce that right? And this was a smaller harp with high sounds. Then there is a psaltery, and there is a harp with a sounding board. A lyre was a high-sounding harp, and a psaltery was a low-sounding harp. And then all kinds of music with all these instruments was the cue. When the music started, everybody was instantly to fall down and worship the image. Now, frankly, this guy's really got an incredible ego. He's got the whole nation gathered together, all of the leading dignitaries. He's called out the royal orchestra. They're ready to go. And when they hit their cue, everybody is supposed to bow down to his massive image. I might just add that music has always been part of sensuality and has always been connected with the worship of idols. And like every other thing that God has given us, Satan has surely used music to promote his evil system, hasn't he? Never has he done a better job of doing it than in our current day today. Then the consequences come in verse 6. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. This is a party that I wouldn't want to be at. Now, I don't know what it could be except a burning fiery furnace. If it was a fiery furnace. Good.
Sorry.
So we assume that the burning is set there for the intensification, so you'll understand that it's a superlative approach that he makes. Anybody who refuses to bow down constitutes a treasonous act and will be thrown into the fiery furnace. If you're standing in opposition to the greatness of Nebuchadnezzar, that's all for you. Most people respond to external circumstances and external pressure. They conform to whatever is required of them rather than internal principle. So at that time, when the people heard the sound of the horn, flute, harp, and lyre in symphony with all kinds of music, all the people, nations, and languages fell down and worshipped the gold image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Now, if you want to meet a bunch of non-thinking, intimidated people, that's them. Typical approach to life. You do whatever you need to do, get whatever you need to get, living on the lowest level, compromising internal principle based on external pressure. Men invariably bow to the system. They bow to the powers that be. They do whatever they have to do, afraid to lose their position, and so they compromise. It doesn't tell us, but we know that in the white spaces here, something else is going on. Everybody was down except 3 guys, and boy, would they ever stick out. They didn't go down. And so we move to the ceremony, the command, to the conspiracy in verse 8, the conspiracy. Now watch this. Therefore at that time certain Chaldeans came forward and accused the Jews. Now, I told you when we first started to study this book that there were probably as many as 75, at least, young men who were taken from the court of Judah to the court of Babylon to be trained to work in that court in a matter of Jewish affairs. But out of the 75, and that's just kind of an educated guess, it could have been more or a few less, but out of all these young men that were taken into captivity, who were the sons of the royalty of Judah, only 4 of them ever are presented as uncompromising, Daniel and his 3 friends. So we assume that the rest of them just hit the deck with everybody else. They were going to buy the bag, accommodate themselves. They were moving up in the system and they weren't about to give themselves problems. And so they just followed along. But apparently, from the indication of verse 8, there were these 3 that did not. Tremendous convictions for men so young. You want to read?
No.
Okay. Now I want you to notice, I think it's almost done. Maybe not. Wow, this is a long chapter. Holy smokes. Wow, well, you guys are in it to win it today. All right. I guess I keep going. Are you gonna go play a game?
I don't know. I kind of want to.
All right. Well, you've
Are
been
you fine with that?
Yeah, you've been good. You sat
All
here
right.
for a while, so thank you.
Hi, Justin. FN. Fortnite. I think, maybe.
Fortnite, you know who he is?
No. It just sounds familiar. Justin FN. I think FN is Fortnite. Here.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm gonna scoot up here, actually, if you
Okay.
back.
Move this a little bit.
That's fine, right where it is. Maximus can sit in his chair.
Alright.
Max will sit upon his throne. God bless you too, Sam. What are you guys up to? Maybe one day you are watching the Book of Daniel. This is like it's a book about a book in the Bible. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but I would say, I think it's historical as well. Brownie says, my mom has lost both parents, so make sure you never rude or mean or shout at your parents or dad because you will regret it when he leaves one day. Brownie, agree with that. I've definitely had some times where I've had crosswords with my parents.
Sorry.
That's all right. I've had crosswords with my parents as well, and I do regret that. So those are wise words. And I think on the flip side, if you have nice things to say to your parents, then tell them while they're alive. Hey, Justice, will you check the laundry? And if it needs to dry more, can you put more quarters in there?
What?
Gotta pay for that. If it needs to dry more, can you turn it on?
Sure.
Okay.
How do I get these out?
But you just break that on the corner of a sharp metal object. Just go check to see if it's dry.
Whoa.
No.
Those are tasty.
Don't let your
Look
children.
like little sour candies.
They do. That's probably why kids were eating them.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. That's nice of you. And Big D Bob, God does not really like the gay. Agree or disagree. What's up?
We're soaking wet and it's at 5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's go put. You can wait.
Here, should I just put some?
Okay.
Okay.
So the message about the gays is that they're sinners just like the rest of us, Bob. So God loves all of us, but he hates our sin. And so that's the one thing that I'll say is that, no sin is greater or less. So I think that they probably get a disproportionately large amount of the human distaste. And I don't think that that's portrayed accurately, because it's, the same way that I want my own sin to be dead is the same way that I would wish that for them. I don't know if maybe they feel the same way, where they struggle with their sins, and it just, it's not something that they can just turn off that easy. So it's just kind of my reflection on that. Justin FN, how fast does the Apollo go? You're asking about the dirt bike, right? I would say that thing probably goes somewhere around, I think it's like 40 or almost 50 miles an hour. I'm sorry, Brownie, but definitely, that's the way it goes. I got my mom left, so I tried to just pour some love out to her. Sean says the book of Revelation is written from a sentence by the Vatican. The book of Enoch teaches we are all related to each other. We are all cousins of each other. I would say if you read the book of Genesis, then you know that that's kind of part of the origination of the human species. Yes, Justin FN. I think it's probably 40 or 50 miles per hour. So I don't know where you live, but I don't know what that is in kilometers per hour. The bike probably doesn't have much ride time on it though. Okay, so I'm gonna get back into this because I'm like halfway done. I probably need to figure out what I'm doing with my dirt bike. Do you guys mind if I disconnect and figure that out? And then I'm gonna have to I wonder what's going on with my light bulb. So yeah, that's kind of the thought, is that I had a thought going through my mind. Let's see. Jad Lopez, what's up, hippie? I'm really not, but I'm pretty sure that I appear that way. Lori says Enoch is not considered part of the canon of Scripture. Maybe you could elaborate on that, Mom, a little bit. Oh, the max distance. I would imagine, I think that tank is probably 1.5 gallons. I bet you he could get about 120 miles out of it, 150 maybe if he's cruising. So, all right, I'm gonna have to come back because I'm supposed to be somewhere in 15 minutes and I'm definitely running late. So let me connect with this guy and I'll pop back on here in a little bit. So Guys, thank you for joining. I'm going to close out real quick in prayer, and then I'm going to come back because this is like, I probably got another hour of this. So thank you, Mom. I appreciate that. You too, Sam. Justin, you can always modify those to have bigger tanks as well. The Bible, I see remove many books they shouldn't have. That's something that I do want to get into, Sean. And actually, I would like to explore why did they remove those and why did they add other ones. But I'm going to close today in prayer, and I'll be back on either in a little bit or later this evening. So, dear God, thank you for this conversation and this time to just study your word and just interact with this community. I thank you for this community. Thank you for blessing us. And we just pray for your word to enrich our minds, bodies, and souls, and just that we can take that truth and light and carry it out into the world around us, that we can just love these people as well as everybody else around us that's not part of this in the way that that you have loved us. Let us just be the head and not the tail, and speak life and not death. And we just pray for your protection over all of us here today, all of our loved ones, our friends, our family, and those who we care for deeply. God, I just pray that you bless us immensely. Let us just let's just take your word out and speak positivity into the lives of those around us and encourage them. But thank you, God, in your name, we give up today. And pray for anybody struggling with anything difficult. You guys are always welcome to email me if you have specific prayer requests or need to chat. It's just here, I'll write it down here, thekylewah@gmail.com. All right, there's my email. Don't abuse it. Love you guys, and talk to you soon. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.